this center rotation, you're going to be finding a source on LGCA at Worldbook and using that source to find information about your God. The first thing you're going to need to do, though, is to cite that source so that if you need to go back to that source later, you can find it. So I'm going to walk you through the process. We're going to first start by going to lgca.org, Info Ohio, Electronic Resources, and that's going to open up into a new window. You're in grades 6 through 8, and it's going to bring up a list of all different resources that are appropriate for your grade. And we're going to scroll down to the bottom where it says Worldbook Student, and this is the source you're going to use. So at this point, I want you to go to Worldbook. You can pause this screencast to get there and go find your source that you're going to use. I'm going to use Zeus for my project. And it's going to bring up any article that ever has a reference to Zeus in Worldbook. But I want to know a lot of information about Zeus, so I'm going to pick probably the first one for you. It is for me, which is titled My God's Name. And then it brings up some information that I can use for him. Now, the nice thing about Worldbook is that if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see different ways to cite this article. And we see the MLA way, the APA, and the Harvard, and we are going to be focusing on MLA. And the nice thing about Worldbook is that it shows you the order that everything needs to be in. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to open a new tab, and you can either use a new tab here, or if you want to be able to scroll back and forth, then, am I going to be able to do it? Yep. I'm going to open a new window, and that way I can see both of them at the same time. And now I'm going to log into my Noodletools account. And you should already have your account made. That was your homework for last week. So hopefully you can just sign in and get started on this. And you should already have a project that's been titled with your God. And you can click on that. We don't want to go to create a new project because we're already working on a project. So I'm going to click on Greek God. And we'll see that I already have one source cited, which I should, because that was my homework last week to do with the Greek Gods book. So this time, we're going to create a new source, but this time it's a reference source because it's an encyclopedia. Create citation. And if you need help and don't know how to cite it and you want to watch a video, you can always click here, and there's another Show Me button. But since I'm showing you, I'm going to go to Continue. And it brings up a similar page like what we had when we did the Greek God example in class. And so when I minimize this time, I want to be able to see both of my sources at the same time. So I'm going to do it like this so that I have the full page. And really, all I need to see for this is the part that says MLA. And so I can open this window to be a little bit larger. Now at this point I want you to pause, and I want you to go do both of these things. Go find your Worldbook article, go log into your Noodletools, and when you're ready to continue, hit play again. Alright, so now we're ready to start citing our source. Now the first thing we need to look at here is this bar above it. I'm citing a reference source, but I need to think about where I found this source. I don't have the book, the encyclopedia in print, and I didn't do a Google search. Websites make me think of places where I did a Google search. And so I'm going to go with database because this is I found this through LGCA. Okay, and so now it's going to ask me for a database, and if I look over here at my library's databases, I can pick from here. And we used Worldbook Student. It's going to default to the access date, which is today's date, and so you can just leave that alone. And then it's going to ask you for the URL. So I'm going to copy my URL and paste it. Now, if I don't know what something is and I click in the box, it shows me DOI. Although not required in MLA, the DOI number provides direct access to your source again. Well, if it's not required in MLA, then we're not going to use it. So now I'm going to go down and figure out my author. And you'll see that it has Phillips, comma, F. Carter. Whenever you see a comma between two names, even though Phillips looks like it could be a first name, Philip, it's author's last name, comma, and then his first name. So I'm going to fill in what I have. Carter, F. Whoops. There we go. Phillips. And I want to make sure that I copy this correctly. You could also go up there and copy and paste. So if I wanted to find my article's title, I could paste it in here. That would ensure that I have it spelled and capitalized correctly. Not to say that I haven't seen some World Book Encyclopedia articles that were not punctuated correctly, or capitalized correctly. So you do still need to follow what you know to be the rules of punctuation and capitalization. Um, there are different page numbers here, so we're not going to worry about that. And so, contributors to the reference source as a whole. When we look at an encyclopedia, it's not going to have a main author, so we're going to skip that. The type of reference is an encyclopedia. The title of the encyclopedia is World Book. Because we don't have it in print, we're not going to have a volume, and we're not going to have a publication city, but the publisher is World Book again. And I can find my year of publication or my copyright date, and it is here, but a lot of times when you're looking at a website, you can look at the bottom of the page and look for the copyright symbol, just like you would in a book, and it's 2013. I'm not going to worry about edition or series because, again, I'm not working with a book in print. And so it looks like I've done everything. We don't need to worry about annotation. So I'm going to click Submit. And I'm going to maximize this now. And I can see that I have two sources in here. And it does look a little bit redundant in it that they put World Book a couple of different times. But that's the information that it needs. Now, let's say you notice that you make a mistake in your spelling or in your punctuation or in the way that you wrote your author's name. You can always go back to Edit. And it brings you back into the citation and you can go fix it. And so if I look down here, I spelled world wrong. So I can just go fix it and then go back to Submit. And it'll make any changes and update them for me. Okay, so this is what you're going to do now. And again, all the information you need to cite your source is right here at this MLA box and your URL. Okay, so once you get this done, you can then start taking notes on your project.